Okay, folks, we're coming back. Like I said, decided to cut that break short. Obviously, we had the big old things happening with the cable and getting ready for NFP. And usually with NFP, and let me move back to charts before somebody says something about that again. So hang on, let me move back here. And we'll take a look at the gold. And let me see, Amanda says, I think too many sell orders on electronic screens and then trade, which has now compounded sentiment. It is what it is. Well, yeah, obviously it was that, but I'm saying it was. I thought it was a perfect storm. Had it been regular trading, and when I say regular trading, I mean had it not been ahead of NFP, you'd had more activity in the market. Doesn't mean we couldn't have broken a bit. Excuse me. But I think it would have been limited to like 100 pips or something, if even that much. But it was a perfect storm in the sense that, like I said, it happened in early Asia. Nobody there. The day before NFP, hardly nobody trading, okay? Then we'd already had the market under pressure from May's comments on the weekend, which said about they're going to invoke Article 50 by no later than March. But she ramped it up some more on Monday. And that, and as we came in, she ramped it up on Monday and Tuesday. And as we came into trading yesterday in Europe, that's when we discussed the article here on Reuters saying, hey, sentiment's really starting to turn negative. And I had the discussion with Blake saying, hey, look, she needs to soften this rhetoric. I think over the next 2 to 3 weeks, she needs to soften this rhetoric up, or we're just going to move lower. Because I thought 126 was about as good as it's going to get. That's what I thought until yesterday morning. But there's no way in hell I thought we'd see anything like this. No way. I thought really the worst thing you'd see the market do was, like I said, the 124s, and on a horrible scenario, then you might have saw like 2387 or something. But there's no way. I just thought that you might see over the course of the next few weeks, over the course of the next 3 weeks, the market could slip little by little by little by little more, eventually maybe as low as 123 over the course of, as I mentioned, over 3 weeks. I thought once we got past 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, then the market was saying, you know what, this isn't getting any better. We're just going to go lower. But there's no way in hell I dreamed anything not even, forget remotely close, not even anything like this. You know what I mean? Worst case scenario, I would have thought, wow, what a big move. It moved to 175 pips. That was amazing. Not anything like this. But I think that, once again, from a longer-term perspective, we already saw the massive sell-off after Brexit. And then the market went back down again. It rallied back up to eventually up to 3480, and we went right back down the tubes again. And then it looked like the market would kind of hold its own. And then May comes out about the Article 50, but then before then, they were already saying, represented from the Bundesbank, it wasn't going to be easy, and they're not going to take it easy. So it was already getting more negative and more negative, and then we got the perfect storm. I think that's what had a lot to do with it. But Hollande saying that, and Hollande being Mr. Sammy Socialist, that kind of said a lot. Like, it makes you think that, wow, maybe the EU is really going to really come together on this. So, Mark says, great calls on the CAD over the last few days. Excellent analysis. I appreciate that. I do. That's the same. And we're right on our highs on the dollar CAD. That was the thing that annoyed me. I mean, like I said, I did say, if we're going to break, we would go to 98. I did say that. I go, if we're going to break here, we're going to go to 98. And we're going to talk about the dollar yen right now. I thought it was silly at this point, because this is my whole thing as we were coming into the BOJ. I was so mad about this because I thought I was going to get a quick 20 pips. And I think it was up 17, and then I'll be doggone, I lose it all, and eventually I get stopped out. And I was really pissed off because I thought I came in at such a great, fantastic level. And so coming into the BOJ, I was saying, I don't trust him, I don't trust him, you should short it, you should short it, you should short it. And we made the case down here. So here we come in on that Monday, And now people talk about shorting it. And I thought it was just the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of. Was the time to be short was all up in here, doubting them. But if we were going to break lower, yeah, we'd go right to 98 if we're going to go and break lower. My whole beef was, if that was your perception, which, it was incorrect because I wasn't bearish at the dollar yen because I kept saying it's all about the ZB, and obviously the ZB is working lower, which I did a blog post on the ZB going lower. Then increased rates would help the dollar yen. The thing that pissed me off is, wow, don't say anything about my dollar CAD, don't say anything about my fantastic call in gold, just call me out on this, what you believed was that. That's what really pissed me off. Let's go and get into gold chart. Anyway, so I don't know what's going to do, just like I said before, I don't know what the dollar yen is going to do because I don't believe it's about the dollar yen. This is about the bond market, the ZB, and we'll get to the bond market. I don't know what it's going to do. Here's the NFP high last month. Honestly, I don't know what it's going to do right now because I kept saying all in here. Remember, I kept saying it's dead money. It's dead money. It's dead money. Blake was saying, I think we can push higher. I think we can push higher. I don't know. I go, can it bounce? Okay, yeah, maybe it can bounce. As far as to me, it's dead money. Well, and obviously it's moved up higher as the ZB sold off. I have no idea. Once again, I don't have an idea. I mean, we've had such a phenomenal run. Obviously, I think the dollar's going to work higher, so that's going to help the dollar yen. I just don't know to what extent it's going to power it up because it's already had a fabulous rally. I think it'll have to come back to find some support. Obviously, anything towards 285 is just going to be held up. But I don't have a good take on what's going to happen. I don't. Just like I kept saying here, it's dead money. Can it get a rally? Yeah, but it's dead money to me. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm even surprised it got up this high. I really am. You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't like, even if that person's perception was I thought it was going to go lower, which that was not the case. I said, yeah, if we're going to break here, yeah, we'll go right to 98. No problem. But I certainly wasn't saying, oh yeah, you see how I was no, because I kept saying, if you want to know what the dollar yen is going to do, it's dead money to me. Follow the ZB, and it's going to tell you what it's going to go and do. So the ZB is so I expect rates to continue to move higher, which is really going to aid the dollar yen. Where it goes, I just don't know. I just don't have a good feel on what this is going to do. Let's go to the gold market, though. Now, there's a market I've got a thing or two to say about. And right now, gold's on its highs. And I tweeted that out about a half an hour ago. I expect short covered in gold. So let's go and move into the gold market right now. Because I think today, more than the actual levels, which is generally what we go and look at, where to come in and, set up. I think it's more important to know what the positioning is. I think it's more important to know what the positioning is because I think because the moves have been so big. So here's my take on the gold market. And we can look at it, let's look at it here, because I've actually put the gold here on the same screen, so it's less of a hassle to look at stuff. So, let me move it here. One of the reasons I was bearish gold also is because we looked at here in the level 2 in the chat, and we had almost 1,000 orders sitting at 1331.2. And then when we came in, I think it was that Thursday, it's last Friday, we had almost 1,500 contracts or offers between 1331 and 1331.50. So, it looked like, this market is ultimately going to go lower. But anyway, getting here to the gold market to get a bigger perspective and see a bigger picture of this. Here in the gold market, obviously we broke lower. I was talking about this breaking lower, and my whole thing was because it was struggling so much once again in this zone here. That once again, that's the way I look at things as they trade in these zones. And we kept trying to get up to this zone, and we got above it here after Yellen, gave him the get out of jail card. We saw a rally in the year right now. But this is where they thought, okay, we're going to 1,400, people were saying. And so we failed, and you can see how we came back to the bottom of the zone. You see here? And when I did the blog post about 5 weeks ago, this is where the market was trading, and it had come down, I guess it was right in here. Yeah, because we kept having those up and downs, up and downs, up and downs. And so we're trading right in here, like in the mid 40s, mid upper 40s, 50. And I said, we're going to 1312. That's why I came up with the 1312. That's why I have my zones here. And I said 1310. I think the low was 1311.80 or 1080, something like that. So when we broke here, I thought that on NFP day, we could make it down to 94. And on a spike low, we could maybe make it down to 89. There's no way in heck I expected this. I ended up bailing out of my shorts early, okay? But right now, you have a couple of things that are pretty interesting here. And this is on a 2-hour chart. You see, we've got a hammer bottom here, although it didn't take out the lows, but like I said, we're starting to see something here. You've got a hammer bottom here. The wick's not really super long, but, you know, we're right here at these lows. And it's not a big hammer bottom, but it's a little mini hammer. Then we have here, and I wouldn't call this a gravestone doji at all, because I'm saying we're just kind of pulling back here. The market was going to have a hard time finding a bid coming into what's supposed to be a decent NFP. So we've come back here, but the key thing is we're not taking out these lows. Now this is on a 2-hour chart, so look how we close. We close out here, but we don't take out this. Now we're getting higher. I think, because my thought would have been, okay, it's going to move again a little bit lower, whatever. In light of what's been happening in the cable, I think it's spooked the market. Now you can see here that it's been on a sell mode for quite some time. You can see here on my exponential moving averages, we've been on a sell mode since October the 1st. So anybody can say, you can see my system is short right now. Well, yeah, if you fall $60, how can it not be short? No, the system checked off a sell signal on October the 1st. You see here? And the sell signal remained. You see how it never crossed over? You see here? It's about ready to cross over right now. Now, my thoughts are, because of the volatility you're seeing here in the cable, which is obviously you're seeing the CAD sell off, but it's impacted by gold also. But if gold works lower, it's going to make the CAD itself work lower, which obviously the dollar CAD would be higher. But I think that it's gotten to a point, and we saw the ZB sell off pretty hard, that they're pretty oversold. I think the ZB will continue to move lower, but I think now you have to start to look at where to get long gold, at the very least short cover. And what I've got below the market to speak some levels, 1239 is a bias pivot, and I've got 4530. I think you got to be covering any shorts here, and I'd be looking to be a value buyer down in here. I don't even know if we'll even make it down there. If you go sub 50, that might be as good as it gets, but you do have 4530 here. So right now what we'll do is we'll roll over to the ZB so we can get some perspective there, because it all ties in together. It's kind of like what Paul Tudor Jones said. It's all a matrix. So let's go on and move into the ZB. And we'll pull it up here on the 30-minute chart. You can see, to back this up, we saw we had pretty decent sell-off. We had the rally back as we started getting concerns about European banks, the Deutsche Bank news, and it really rallied up like crazy. Then we came up with a double top just at the end of last week. And here we are at 170, and the market has already sold off 5.5 points. Folks, that's $5,500 a contract. So it's already had a massive sell-off. And when I did my blog post, I kept saying, I thought, because we held eventually at 38%. Actually, and here's the low, which was 64.13. If we were to pull back this up here, that was at 38% of the overall move. If we get a good NFP, I think we'll have to pull up a 2-hour chart, but the levels I have below are 64.02, and I think it's 63.20, and I think that's as good as it gets. So we'll take a look at here on a bigger time frame. on this 4-hour chart. And generally I don't look at 4 charts, so you look at 2 hours. But obviously if it's a bond, it's stretched so far back that it'd be crazy looking on a 2-hour chart. So I got 64, 263, 27. I like the 63, 27. The point is, I think we're really oversold. So at this point, I think the bonds eventually continue to work much lower, but I think we're at a point where we're just going to have to find, look at this, there's some very nice support in here. You see, I think that the bonds are pretty much overdone here, so we'll probably end up finding some support, and that may go back to allow the gold once we find that, and we'll move into there. Hang on, flip the screens back. We'll allow the gold to work higher because, as I mentioned before, is, and you see how we have this hammer bottom? See right here? Inverted hammer, okay? Then a hammer. Then this mini inverted hammer. It's starting to already bottom out. But what you're seeing here with the cable is really starting to, I think, going to push some people into the gold market. I think Blake should be coming on. Okay, let's see. So Blake should be coming on now.